Whether you're a geek in a cape.
You did it.
I did.
Hold on. Is this picking me up?
No, you need to pull up here.
What?
Yeah, well, because our sitting situation here is fucked up.
So if I just do it like this, we're good?
Perfect.
It's like, okay.
Perfect.
Where are we at?
Whether you're a geek in a cape.
Our rogue who's sneaky.
Join Chris.
Roger.
As we
attempt to entertain the geeky.
Entertain the geeky.
So, hi, Chris.
What's going on?
Nothing. How are you?
Living the good life, man.
Dude, it's been a minute since you and I sat down and actually had
like... Good... June was the last time you and I were on the mics together.
Yeah, and interesting. So here, I'll give you a little behind the scenes on all this. You know, you've been busy with life. I've been busy with life. So Chris and I kind of really just haven't really been talking or hanging out a lot. And I called Jason a couple weeks ago, and I was like, hey, we need to get together and record. And then, like, the next Monday, you put up the Lock and Key episode. Yeah. Like, out of the blue, I was like, what the fuck? And then I texted Jason. I'm like, did you talk to Chris? No. And he was like, no. Why? And I was like, he posted an episode out of the blue. Yeah. And Jason's like, oh. And I was like, all right, well, we're getting together. Let's do our thing and just see what happens. So it's been very weird for us. Yeah. Well,
so my whole thing was, I was like, you know what, man? With Entertain the Geeky, it was done because there was a part of my life that was not being fulfilled at all. And we had this fucking absolutely incredible run for 2 years. Yeah. Like 2 straight years of just fucking badassery. And I was like, you know what, man? It is not acceptable that I'm letting all the fucking work that we put into this project go by the wayside.
And where I was I just had a realization I'm paying $20 a month and no content's going up.
Bro, trust me, right? Trust me. Because so I look at I get the website billing all the time, and I'm like, God damn, dude, I just paid $34 and we haven't posted a fucking thing in 6 months.
So yeah, I was like, I don't really know. We're really having this conversation right now.
Yeah, right
on the air. All right, I was like, I don't know what's going on, so I'm gonna go and do my thing and do this. And I mean, the good news is I don't know what's going to be in store for Entertain the Geeky, but you guys are going to get content. It could be Chris posting something. Yeah. It could be me and Jason. It could be me. It could be Chris and somebody else. Yeah. At this point, we're just going to be posting things, and we're not going to go back to the way things were. It's not going to be Chris and I just get together and bullshit for 2 hours or an hour. Yeah. Like we're doing show prep. I'm coming up with ideas because one of the big complaints that I heard was, you guys just listen to us and there's no real information. It's just us getting together being stupid guys, which is fair. But the original idea behind the show was to bring the comic book shop talk to you. So that's what we're going to do. And it's no longer going to be, haha, here's this. It's, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we think about it. What do you guys think?
It'll be more controlled now.
Which kind of brings me to what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, shoot.
Which is movies and how movies have changed in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And this kind of starts with the fact, y'all know I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. Like Kevin Smith.
We've been riding Kevin Smith's dick for years.
Longer than you and I have been together. Yeah. I always wanted to make
longer
movies.
Than you and I have been together.
We've been riding Kevin Smith's dick. I've always wanted to make movies. That was my dream when I was a child, was I wanted to be a director. And Jurassic Park was the movie that made me want to make movies. I was like, I want to entertain people like that. That's what I want to do with my life. Kevin Smith showed me that you can make movies.
You can be a fucking nobody and do it.
And you can do it. Now, I had a buddy over, and we ended up watching Chasing Amy. Yeah. Which is Kevin Smith's, in my mind, second greatest movie. It goes Clerks 2, Chasing Amy. Like, that's the order.
The Mallrats?
No. Here, I'll give you my order. And I'm going to keep it to the Jay and Silent Bob universe because Jersey Girl fits in there in a different order. Yeah. But in the Jay, and then I want your order. In the Jay and Silent Bob universe, it goes Clerks 2. Yeah. Chasing Amy. Clerks 1. Dogma. Mallrats. Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And then Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That is 6 movies that I enjoy all of them. But to me, and I'll break it down why the list is that way.
Shoot.
Kevin Smith is very good at dialogue.
That's his thing.
Like that is what he's good at. And when I see Clerks 2, and there's 2 types of Kevin Smith movies. I'm making a dialogue movie like Clerks 1, where it's 2 guys talking because that's all I have the money for. Yeah. And then there's the slapstick, just standard, in my mind, comedy tropes, which is Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I've got a couple of bucks to throw.
Right. Let's make a traditional comedy at this point. Clerks 2 to me combines both of those. If you don't choke up during that jailhouse scene, you're dead inside.
Right.
Like when Randall's throwing it all out there, saying I'd buy the Quick Stop and open it ourselves, talking about his friendship, you're just dead inside. So to me, Clerks 2 definitely combines both best of both worlds, because the donkey scene's hilarious.
It's awesome. Yeah.
The emotional roller coaster between Dante and Rosario Dawson, the how do friendships evolve in your 30s, is an amazing thing. Chasing Amy is, to me, the greatest dialogue movie Kevin Smith has ever done. It is there is no action in this movie. The comedy is not slapstick. It is, oh my God, this is what they said is funny.
Yep.
You know, the Archie's being gay, and then the ground it broke. Now, if you watch this movie and you've never seen Chasing Amy, it's not controversial today.
No.
It's not groundbreaking. I mean, it's kind of like bland. But in the 90s, the idea of that storyline of a lesbian going straight, going back to gay, all of that was very groundbreaking. And you can tell that Kevin Smith put his heart into that movie. And that's really where it was. And then Clerks, obviously, is Clerks and blah, blah, blah. Mallrats is higher than Dogma is higher than that, because I do like the religious undertone. I do like the theories he was throwing out.
Yeah.
Again, it's more of, this is my heart, this is what I think. And you can feel that in his work. But with Mallrats, it's the first slapstick comedy he did, and it was really well done. It was funny, but it's not... To me, it goes in the same form as like Happy Gilmore or any of those type of comedies we grew up watching.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
So number one is Clerks 2. Okay. That movie was incredible because they gave him a budget that he didn't have any business having, which was awesome. And what you looking at?
Oh, go ahead. I'm
trying to figure out how I was holding it.
No, there we go.
But they gave him a budget that he had never really had before, and he made a phenomenal fucking film. Like you said, he brought the dialogue to the slapstick very, very well. Second from that would be Mallrats. And it's mostly because of Stan Lee's little excerpt that he gives at the end of the movie.
Okay.
It's so fucking good, dude.
That is a really good scene.
It is so fucking good. And then, like, how brilliantly that was executed with the whole... Oh, no, that was a Spider-Man story that I did. Fucking hysterical. From there, whew. So it's kind of a toss-up. Red State has a special spot in my heart.
Red State is not a Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Oh, you're keeping... Okay,
we're
Jay
keeping
and
it in
Bob
the
universe.
View
Okay.
universe. Yes.
Fair enough. So then it would be Clerks, Chasing Amy. Those two are right there. I put Dogma under that. Dogma wasn't super exciting for me. I remember watching it when it came out and thinking, oh, this is cool. And I actually, about a month and a half ago, Tara had never seen it. So I went and bought it, and I was like...
Did you buy it on DVD?
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, and I'm going to interject your story. Listeners, I want you to go to Amazon real quick. Look up Dogma on Blu-ray. It is $120.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Right? Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Now, this one is extra special, and I've not actually got to talk about this on this show yet. So, you got, as we've already talked about here, I'm a huge fucking Kevin Smith fan, and they did the Reboot Roadshow tour, and they came here to St. Louis, and I bought tickets to it. I bought balcony tickets to it because I was like, man, I fucking never bought balcony tickets to shit, and I love this man. I started podcasting because of Kevin Smith. I'm going to see this. So the wife and I go to see this, and he's like, yeah, I'll sit down and watch the movie at some point with the audience. Motherfucker came and sit right next to me and Tara. And every fucking piece of me that is pure and excited and all that was just spilling out into the world because fucking Kevin Smith is sitting right next to me and my wife. And like, that guy means so much to me and has meant so much to the decisions that I've decided to make as an adult here. Is, you know, I sit down with my fucking nerdy ass friends and tell stories and stuff like that because of him. So that one is like in its own little spot because it takes all these movies and all this bullshit and just tips its hat to everything the motherfucker has ever done.
While making fun of where Hollywood is.
Oh, absolutely.
Will I say that Jay and Silent Reboot is a good movie? Not really.
It's not a great film.
No, it's not. It's actually
as far as like being a cinematic piece goes, it's not as good as the other movies that he's done.
But again, there is one scene.
It's the whole the Ben Affleck scene.
The Ben Affleck scene is the whole reason to watch that movie.
Listening to Kevin Smith's commentary makes that movie more enjoyable. But dude, it was watching the past 25 years basically.
Yeah.
Get a tip of the hat, and that was fun. And like when you're a fan of something and a movie is made just for the sake of, oh, you're a fan of this, dude, that's fucking cool.
You know, Jay and Silent Reboot, I'm okay if there's not another Kevin Smith movie. I am. Like, Clerks 2 wrapped up those characters. I don't need to see a Clerks 3, right? Dante and Randall are owning the Quick Stop. Dante's married. They have a kid. Jay and Silent Bob. Jay's figured out his life and where he needs to be in his life. Everything is... Like, those characters are wrapped up. I don't need to see more of this. Would I like it? Sure. I don't need to see it. And the reason we're going on this, that actually leads to this conversation, is they don't tell stories like that anymore. Movies have moved away from dialogue and character development.
Explosions and action.
Explosions and actions, yeah. And I'm not going to blame the MCU for this, but I will point to the MCU as... It's
an example of it.
As a huge example, because obviously these movies make billions of dollars. Now, we've always had action movies. Mm-hmm. We've always had big budget spectacles, special effects.
Yeah.
For us growing up, like our big budget movie, there's three that come to mind.
What you got?
Jurassic Park.
That was one of them.
Terminator 2 and Independence Day.
Independence Day, man. Fuck.
Yeah, like that movie, those movies were like, boom, here's the new thing in special effects. But at that time, you still had story-driven, dialogue-driven movies. Mm-hmm. You did have the Clerks. You had Pulp Fiction. You had the independent film
resurgence back in like 2004.
Well, before that, because it was the 90s.
Well, you had the 90s, and then you had like 2004. We saw the resurgence of that because you had movies like Juno, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Those movies were starting to turn back up. The difference is the shit that came out in the 90s far superior to fucking Juno. Juno's a shit movie.
Well, it is. Juno, I own it. It's sitting over here.
I was just looking at it.
Yeah. But so my thing is it because these movies make a bunch of money, which obviously they're going to continue cranking them out because they do, or is it because we have an audience have lowered our expectations on what we find is entertainment?
No. So we get our storytelling, and this is something you and I were talking about off the mics a little bit. We get our storytelling now in series. It's done in series. It's done by binging something. We don't get it in the short form of a movie anymore.
Okay. I can see that, but my question is, should we expect more? Look at the Oscars.
No, that's fair. So 2 hours. Let's say a movie's 2 hours. Okay. Can you develop a character in 2 hours and all the shit? Yeah, people have done it for fucking years. Is it the most effective way of bringing somebody full circle? No,
but the idea to me about movies and when you see a movie and it's not I expect to see the character's journey end. It's I'm seeing a snippet of their life. Let's look at The Godfather.
Yeah.
All right. Great movie, 3 hours long. So
3 hours long.
An hour extra runtime. But you did not. You saw Michael Corleone change in that movie, but his character was not complete. And if they had not done Godfather 2 or the worst Godfather 3, that movie would still hold up as a masterpiece of cinema.
Yeah.
Because of what it had accomplished. Mm-hmm. And you would not have had the character's journey complete. Michael wouldn't have died at the end of Godfather 3, but you would know just by that snippet of life.
But do you know what? Okay, do you know what Godfather is? That's essentially it's a 12-part miniseries.
Yeah, but that's how films have been.
I mean, because it's fucking 3 hours long. That's a long-ass movie, bro.
But, okay, then let's look at other movies. I mean, The King's Speech.
Okay.
All right. 2 hour movie.
2 hour movie.
2 hour movie.
Well executed. Well executed.
Not a lot, but you saw just a snippet of his life
Mm-hmm.
and how the character changed.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting that anymore. In movies.
Here, I'm not saying that it's not, because, you know, I tip my hat to it. I'm like, they don't do it like they used to. I think a more effective means of doing it now is a series.
Okay. Why?
Reason being is you get more storytelling. You get to dive a little bit deeper into it.
Do you need...
Because of time restrictions.
Okay, now, do you need more storytelling? Let's look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is the biggest show that has come out in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
In the past decade.
Yeah.
All right? But there's definitely a moment in that show where it's done. And even the bad reception of the last season, maybe the idea that we're going to take our time isn't always the best. Look at all the TV shows that have gone on for far too long.
So Game of Thrones, I think one of the big things that bit them in the ass also was not having appropriate source material at that juncture.
Well, that's Martin's fault. But Martin, like, they sat down with Martin. The only reason he signed
What
off on
do
the
you
show,
believe happens? Yeah. Do you think he even knew at that point? He's like, tell me how I'm going to finish this story.
Yeah, fuck no. Here's my thing about George R.R. Martin and Game of Thrones is he wrote that book and he killed Ned Stark and went. He killed Ned Stark and went, oh, where do I go from there?
Yeah.
And that's all we've gotten. And whatever. It's not the best books. It's fine. Whatever. Those books are never going to finish. You have your end of Game of Thrones. It's on TV.
Yeah.
That's the end. Like, George R.R. Martin promises us that his book ending will be different. Well, we're never going to get to that. He's going to die before he finishes it. And I'm okay with that.
Dicks and Dragons.
But, like, so let's look at the MCU. Let's look at what movies have become.
Yeah.
They become big explosions. They become action-oriented type storytelling. Is that the only way that this industry can survive?
Of course not. Of course not. Because what's going to happen here, what's going to happen is in the next few years, we're going to get a film and it's going to make people feel something because it was just nothing cinematic, so to speak, will happen in it. It's going to be this dialogue-driven thing, and it'll be a big ordeal. And it'll win a bunch of fucking awards and all this bullshit, and everybody's going to suck the director's dick, and they're going to say these actors were so amazing, blah, 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 and that'll open it back up. These things come in phases.
I don't know if we're past that or not.
We're not.
You honestly don't think we are?
No, not at all.
Because we do have a different landscape than before.
We do.
And like you said, series are now the way to tell stories.
I think it is a more effective means of doing it. Does that mean it's the only way to do it? No.
And with the fact that, it's no longer... The reason that TV shows have less of what we're talking about is budget. Right?
Yeah.
Now let's actually break it down. Let's look at how many movie studios there truly, honestly are.
3.
Right. No. You got Disney, you
Sony.
got WB, and you got Sony.
Yeah.
Universal is kind of hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
Okay? So you've got three studios. Disney has all the money. They don't need to make...
anything.
Yeah. They're like, hey, we're going to spend $1 billion making a movie because fuck it, we're going to make that money back. Warner Brothers, they're talking about making Lethal Weapon 5. That's their big, hey, let's do this. What the fuck Sony got? It's got Spider-Man? Morbius?
Yeah, Sony's got... It's... With them, I don't think there's so much clinging on to the cinematic universes. Spider-Man is the outlier there.
But what other movies do they have coming out?
It's more so one-offs, I think.
Yeah, and they're not making a shit ton of money. So really what it's going to take to get back to this is
indie films and studios realizing, hey, I don't need to make $30 billion when I release a movie. I just need to make a profit. Yeah. So once upon a time, when somebody would pitch a movie idea to you, you would assess risk.
Right.
We don't do that anymore. Because there's a formula.
Right. The formula is big explosions. That's what drives character development.
So yeah, like your Disney, I don't think Disney is going to start telling original stories. Actually, and I've bitched about this before and I'll bitch about this again. Stop fucking doing your live action remakes of your bullshit.
But they don't need to.
They do need to stop that because it's fucked up. Fuck you.
They're making movies and they're making money. How much money did the Lion King remake make?
I don't give a fuck. I didn't watch it.
How much money did the Aladdin remake make?
I don't know. It's trash.
You don't like the risk in Hollywood is always developing a new IP, right?
Yeah, no, and Disney's completely mitigated risk.
Disney's just buying IPs.
They don't fucking care.
No.
So yeah, Disney's gonna keep reprinting bullshit. Okay, so we know what's coming from them. Sony's going to be one that'll give a shit, and WB will. WB, there was some movie that I was just looking at that they're going to be putting out. Fuck. It's eluding me right now. It doesn't really matter. So it's going to be Sony and WB. Universal will tag themselves in other people's movies at this point. Yeah. They're like, we own some properties.
They're like, we have Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Do they? Yeah. Does Universal have Mission Impossible? No, hold on. Keep talking.
Hold on. Just pull your phone out, dude. It's right in front of you.
Pull my phone out. I got the movie right here. That's Paramount.
It's Paramount?
Paramount.
Okay.
Oh, we forgot about Paramount.
They're the Nickelodeon studios.
Yeah, the Nickelodeon studios,
and Hasbro.
Paramount, and Star Trek.
Yeah. Paramount's an interesting one.
It is. Well, because they just merged back with CBS.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to start getting more Star Trek movies.
We'll see.
Like, when I say Star Trek movies, I'm using the air quotations of, hey, fuck you, you're not my captain. We're going back to what Star Trek movies should be.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
But yeah, so there's not a lot of studios out there that are willing to take this risk.
Well, no, because everything's about tugging on your... we've had this conversation before on the mics, and everything is about pulling on your nostalgias. Let me tug at your heartstrings. Yes.
No, because hold on. What has been the most successful in the past 15 years?
MCU.
Okay. That's not really harping on my nostalgia, and here's why. While we have comics and we read these comics and we saw these TV shows, they're not going back like episode 7 and giving us nostalgia. They're saying, here's some new stories. You cannot point to one Marvel movie and say it's a great adaptation of a story. Civil War, prime example. Watch Captain America Civil War and then go read the book.
Oh, dude, don't even. Yeah.
Guess what? They're not the same. And I will say this.
It's a tipping of a hat, though.
It is a tipping of a hat.
And there are scenes in that movie that are direct adaptations of a panel from a comic book.
But at the same time, I will say this. The movie is far superior than the comic storyline.
To the end.
To the comic storyline. And the biggest moment we had in cinema in the past 2 years was Endgame. All right, let's be honest. They wrapped everything up.
No, that was huge.
And you saw Robert Downey Jr. just do the snap and all that good things. And I said at the time that if they stopped making Marvel movies, that's a damn good place to end it.
I agree.
But the thing is this, and this is what we were kind of talking about earlier, is we spent 10 years watching, and we're going to focus on Iron Man.
Yep.
Watching Iron Man develop from the alcoholic blah 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 to sacrificing himself at the end.
Yep.
But I cannot tell you why.
Because he was daddy. He gave up. Here's the thing. He gave up the single most precious thing that he knew in the universe, which was being dad. And he did that so that everybody could have a better life. And it was no longer, I'm going to put this blanket around the world to protect it. It was, I'm going to give these people a chance. Boom.
Okay, you know what? You know what happened there? There was no dialogue. There was no actual thought process of this is where Tony Stark's going. I am tired of...
You had to think about it.
No, and stop. Here's the thing. You can have an intellectual movie that makes you think. Chasing Amy, King's Speech, Dunkirk, 1970.
Dunkirk was fucking good.
You can have these intellectual movies that make you think about characters while discussing it.
Yeah.
There was no point given to the fact through the entire Endgame. Here's what you heard. Here's what you heard Tony Stark say. I want to come out of this alive because I have too much to lose. And then all of a sudden, he's like, fuck it.
It wasn't about, fuck it, though.
But that's really what it was. Tony sacrificed himself to save the world, which is something that Captain America said he would never do.
Yep.
But he proved in the end of Avengers, the first one, he was willing to make that sacrifice. Tony Stark snapping his fingers at the end of Endgame is not this big character development revelation that they wanted it to be, because he proved he's willing to sacrifice himself in the first fucking movie.
But the stakes were different. It was higher stakes at that point.
Okay, so just because the stakes are higher means my sacrifice means more?
Yes.
No.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
He was willing to die for New York.
Yeah. But
so why wouldn't he be willing to die for
He was not willing to give up a family for it. Like, it was different.
No, because he had proven that even before the kid came into his life, even before he became a dad, he was willing to die to save New York.
Yep.
That is not character development. That is just going back to where he was, which is, all right, I'll die for this. Yeah, that's it. Just because it's now the world.
Yeah, but then we see Tony Stark go back into this hole after New York because he's got PTSD or whatever, and he's being a little bitch about it. And he's like, I am scared of monsters coming through portals in the sky, and I have visions of it. And so you have that, and you have that for fucking years. For fucking years. It's Tony Stark being a fucking bitch, and he's like, well, I gotta make fucking Ultron now. I gotta make an Ultron because I want to protect everybody, and I don't want to have to get dead.
And he was still willing to die.
He wasn't willing to die for the Ultron thing. And then you have this selfish prick. You have this selfish prick say, man, your buddy killed my daddy, and I know we've done a lot of good shit together, but fuck you. I'm going to be mad at you now and stomp my feet like a little bitch. Like, you do see a character progression there. And he fucking stomps his feet, and then he's like, man, this isn't so bad, and you're actually a cool fucking cat, and I'll die for you and everybody else, even though I have to leave my wife and kid alone.
Even though I had already said I would die for you and everyone else in our first fucking outing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, that's, like, I'm not trying to take away from Tony Stark's sacrifice at the end of the Endgame, but for fuck's sake, he already made that point that he's willing to die. It's not really that big shocking of an ordeal that he died. Captain America is a little different. If you want to look at character development in a movie,
no, that was fucking huge.
Captain America's development from being this goody two-shoe to being kind of on the dark, but always still following his morals.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he realized, you know what?
I missed a whole life.
I gave up everything to do this. It's done. It's time for me to move on. So instead of looking, here you go, Marvel fans. Instead of praising the end of Iron Man, how about you praise Steve Rogers' journey? And actually look at that. That's the character development.
No. Steve Rogers got the perfect hit. But we said that in our Endgame episode, back in June.
Yeah. But that's the ending. That's the character development we need. We don't need rehashing of the same things. In fact, let's realize that movies need to be more like that, because that was the character development. Look at Dark Knight. Okay, the only reason, and I've said this time and time again, but the only reason that Heath Ledger's Joker is so prevalent is he died right after.
Yep.
The movie is not about Heath Ledger. It was never about the Joker.
Yep.
It was about Two-Face. It was about Harvey Dent.
Yep.
And that character, there's 2.5 hour long movie, and you saw the slow descent from Harvey Dent. Look at Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Like, that movie was leaps beyond anything the MCU has put out as far as telling a movie, showing a character, because that was a character study.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That was not a action movie. That was a character study. There you go. The Joker is what gives you hope that maybe the studios will do something different. Because they took a comic book movie and made it something
it's
it never was.
It's the highest grossing R-rated movie ever, too.
Right.
So I think there's plenty of hope. Now, here's a problem. Because of the movie's success, they're like, we're making a Joker 2. That was supposed to be a one-off.
It was. And I don't... We'll see how the Joker 2 comes out.
There doesn't need to be a second one.
There doesn't.
Leave well enough alone.
Well, the issue I have with them doing a sequel is what I found the best part about the Joker was the end, when he walks away. And you realize at that moment, that entire movie you've been watching could just be a tale.
Yep.
And that's where you're thinking about a movie and you're looking into the character development is that's the type of thinking I'm talking about. Is I went through this journey with this character.
Yeah.
I saw how he descent into the Joker. And at the end, in the most Joker way possible, you could be telling me that this is all bullshit.
Yeah, it's just he's the ultimate agent of chaos.
Right. And doing a sequel does kind of cheapen that.
It's a disservice to it.
So there's another thing is Hollywood stopped making sequels.
I mean, this has been said on this show probably 100 times now.
I mean, we've got 9 Fast and Furious movies?
Yeah, no, that shit needed to stop fucking after the first one. Those are stupid fucking movies.
Have you seen that meme where it says, I'm this, if you feel old, here you go. This is what they were stealing in the first Fast and Furious. And it's DVDs and fucking tube TVs.
Yep.
But I don't really know what I expect from Hollywood at this point. I don't know what I expect from my entertainment because I feel that I want to still see some spectacles. I still want to see the Star Wars. I still want to see the Jurassic Worlds. I still want to see those movies. But I do want to walk into a theater and I do want to see movies where
You want to feel something.
Not even feel something. I want to think about it. I want to know. The idea cinema used to be. Do you remember like when cinema used to be? You'd go see a movie and you would sit and talk about it, and you would dissect the film. You would critique it. Now it's, hey man, that those special effects didn't look real good. That explosion looked fake. I feel that we have cheapened the movie going experience, and it's all because of Star Wars. I don't really mean that. I told you this earlier, and I'll throw it out in the air because I actually want to hear what the listeners has to think about this.
Shoot.
And I don't want to argue is Star Wars good or bad. Do you think that Star Wars' impact on special effects is overrated?
Because, we were talking about that off air.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like I told you earlier, we look at Star Wars as this great special effects spectacle. And we say that it advanced special effects technology so much. While Empire Strikes Back might have done that, the original Star Wars, A New Hope, did not. They used the same exact special effects, models, blue screen, wire captures that had been used since the 50s.
It was not a blue screen. It was an actual background.
No. When the TIE fighters are blowing up,
yeah,
like that sheet, all of the scenes of the TIE fighters blowing up, it was models hanging from wires.
I thought
with
it was
blue screen.
Oh, I thought it was a black and white spotted screen.
No, it was blue screen. That's the same thing as a blue screen. But yeah, no, it was a green screen. It was a green screen effect. The models, the Death Star run.
Yeah,
that was just a model.
Yep.
We had seen these things done so many times before. This wasn't new technology. In fact, the only thing that he might have done new was lightsabers, but even then there's been laser beam shot in movies since the 50s.
Yeah.
What Star Wars did was all they did was make sci-fi fast and exciting, because up until that point, sci-fi was 2001. It was these slow, methodical movies that made you think with these special effects. 2001 has great special effects. The movie was made in the 60s, almost 10 years before Star Wars had come out. And the special effects in that movie are on par with Star Wars. A decade later, go look at the movies of the 80s special effects and then compare them to the special effects of the 90s. They are definitely different leagues.
So what movie was that? Where the water goes through the ship?
The Abyss.
The Abyss, thank you. The Abyss had the single greatest special effect of the 80s.
Yes.
That water scene that was the first like big computer scene.
No, it wasn't.
No. That looked like that. It was.
Well, it was the first computer generated character.
Yeah.
The first computer generated movie scene was actually Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Okay.
The Genesis scene where they showed the presentation of Genesis. Yeah. That was the first computer generated.
Wasn't on the same level.
No, but it was the first time it was used.
Okay,
Let's give credit
enough.
where credit is due.
Okay,
We're talking about pioneering special effects.
Well, the Abyss did it the best.
And I want to know, listeners, do you think that Star Wars gets, we're going to just say A New Hope, that it gets too much credit for special effects? Because it really didn't do anything revolutionary. It's much like the Beatles. It didn't do anything revolutionary. It just did it better than everyone else.
You know, we're going to get hate mail about the Beatles comment. Nobody gives a fuck about Star Wars right
That's
now.
fine.
The last movie pissed everybody off enough to where they're like,
but the last movie really didn't. Look.
Ooh, careful.
All right, first off, the last movie proved one thing and one thing only. And here we go back to Disney bullshittery, is that Disney did not have a plan for this trilogy.
No.
And unlike George Lucas, where he said he had a plan and obviously he didn't have a plan, George Lucas was able to pull that shit off.
Much better.
Disney was not. Disney went, hey, let's make a new trilogy.
There's such a thing as too many cooks in the kitchen.
Well, yeah. And
that's what Disney's proven.
The problem is, and here we go, directors are storytellers. Directors are not writers.
One good chef can bullshit his way through a meal.
Yeah.
Okay. 15 can't.
But if you look at the original trilogy, George Lucas directed the first one. Wrote and directed the first one.
Yep.
That was all.
Yep.
He didn't write Empire Strikes Back. He didn't write Return of the Jedi. He was like, here's my outline.
But we know that studio interference is an issue, and when you're bouncing around with directors who are also giving their input in writing there, because that's what all of them have done. Everybody's like, fucking Rian Johnson, fucking J.J. Abrams. Stop. Like, these guys fucking got... There were too many cooks in the kitchen. It made for a botched-ass fucking trilogy.
It was botched. And whether you like the movies or not. It was fucking
bad.
Like, whether you like the movies or not, we're not here to say they're, you know...
I'm here to say they're bad.
Yeah, that's Chris. Whether you like the movies or not, it is definitely a clear-cut case that Disney did not have plans for this trilogy.
No, it was fucked.
And they released the first movie purely stricken on nostalgia.
Yep.
They were like, hey, you guys didn't like the prequels. Let's go back to Star Wars. Here's the Millennium Falcon. Here's the Death Star. The second movie, while I have said time and time again, to me was not well paced. It was not well edited. It was not well directed. The story in the movie was good. The idea that Rey came from nobody, the characterizations that Luke had taken, all of it was good. It was just poorly executed.
Yeah. And then they come back and they fuck all of that.
And then with the third movie, they were like, hey, all those things you liked or didn't like about the second movie don't matter. And to me...
That's why, dude, J.J. Abrams, you need to fucking stop, bro. This is his fault.
I don't know.
It's the Star Trek fucker.
No, as much as I want to point the finger at J.J. Abrams, I can't.
Where was Chris Pine and all that?
That's
the question.
He was making Wonder Woman. As much as I want to point the finger at Chris Pine, at J.J. Abrams, I can't do that. I blame it solely on Disney for releasing a product that they had no plan for. Much like with Game of Thrones, once you get past that source material and you don't have a plan for what's next, if you sit there and you tell me you're going to release a trilogy, then you better have that trilogy. You don't need to have every word figured out.
You need to have an arc.
You need to get exactly.
You need to have an arc,
and you can't hodgepodge it. Here's what made the original trilogy so good. First movie came out. Great action, great sci-fi, great movie. Not a lot of character development.
Yep.
Han Solo turned into be a hero. That was the character development of that movie.
Yeah.
Luke was like, I want to be a Jedi. From the moment you met him,
he gets indoctrinated into this fucking crazy ass religion within about 40 seconds of meeting Ben Kenobi.
So Luke's journey in the first movie is not really
there's nothing surprising there.
Right. Oh, Obi-Wan died, now I'm gonna pick up a lightsaber. Fine. But the first movie, boom, and then what you saw with the second and third movie was an actual cohesive storyline. The what happened in those movies made sense, except for the Ewoks beating the Empire. I will not understand that, but fine, more power to you. You wanted Wookiees, you couldn't afford them. Great. With the prequel trilogy, now we see what over planning does. George Lucas overplanned, wrote those 3 movies. And you can see what happens when you just have nothing but yes men around.
Well, we had some fan interference after the fucking first movie.
We did.
After episode 1, not the first movie, but the fucking 5th movie.
Well, even George Lucas said, if you read those interviews in the 90s, 99 when it came out, there's a Time magazine article where George Lucas said, I knew introducing Anakin as a child, the audience would hate it. So he did this knowing. And I have talked a lot of crap on George Lucas in the past.
That was a fucking brilliant
move. I will say this. George Lucas has, when he makes his stories, he's been like, yeah, I did it. I did it not to appease you fans. I did it to tell the story I wanted to tell. Good or bad, right or wrong, that's the story he wanted to tell. Star Wars is not ours. Star Wars is his.
So here,
was his. Now it's Disney's.
I'm gonna fucking talk about what a brilliant move that was. Because you don't have to fucking like it. I really don't give a shit. But what he did here is he took the fucking big bad, the irredeemable basically, in Darth Vader, and he humanized him. What's the most beautiful and just pure thing in this world? It's a child. So he shows you this fucking child who's just beautiful and pure, and that motherfucker is going to be the heinous cocksucker Darth Vader.
Except at the end of Return of the Jedi, you saw he was redeemed.
Yeah. No. And we know that going into that story.
Now, with Disney's new trilogy, it's obvious they did not have a plan.
No.
And we spent, 4 years? 6 years? 6 years?
6 years.
6 years.
It was technically 5 years, I guess.
So 5 years with a trilogy that not only divided fans,
nothing happened.
that not only made you question your fandom,
nothing fucking happened, dude.
You wiped the one movie you decided to take risk with. You wiped away. You didn't plan. Sit down and plan. I understand that sometimes like an author will tell you, I started writing a book and the characters take over.
Yeah.
Like I have a general plot line. I want it to go from here to here to here to here to here. It's how you get there.
Well, see, that's the thing with character development. Characters are supposed to take over. Characters are the driving force of a story.
It's yeah, exactly. And like Stephen King will tell you, he sits down and he starts writing, but he has a general idea of what he wants to have happen, where he wants the story to kind of end.
Yeah.
Which Stephen King is the worst author in the world for ending books. None of his endings ever are good. And then he lets the characters take over. With the new Star Wars trilogy, it seemed like every movie was just, I want to make a good Star Wars movie.
I want to make a Star Wars movie.
Right, and it wasn't, I want to tell this story. And and from what I understand, Disney seems to have gotten the message, because they're like, hey, let's take a step back.
What they need to do, and I know this will not fucking happen, but what they need to do, you guys need to take fucking 5 years away from Star Wars, Disney. Own the property. Do your fucking little miniseries with it. The Mandalorian's incredible.
Is it, though?
Yeah, it's really good.
I don't think it is.
We're so fucking starved for something that's decent that's great.
I don't think The Mandalorian's decent. I watched all the episodes.
Yeah.
It was okay. My issue with The Mandalorian,
Okay.
there's no story.
It's a baby.
Okay, great. Baby Yoda's cute.
That's a baby.
Here, you want to watch the entire season of Mandalorian? Here you go. Watch one episode. Watch the third episode. Watch the third episode. I go to a planet. Some shit happens. Baby Yoda's in trouble. And then we go to a different planet.
There is a story. You have this fucking cutthroat asshole who is on a job, fucking is going through with his job, and then is like, oh man, I can't fucking do this because it's wrong, and this little thing deserves a chance. And then, oh, he's fucking Papa Bear.
No, do you know why he didn't kill Baby Yoda?
Because
it's
Baby
not
Yoda's
because
cute.
he loves Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's using his Jedi mind bullshittery.
Oh, stop it. You just want to be mad at the fucking cuteness.
No, I'm fine with Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's adorable. Baby Yoda is really, honestly, the only reason to watch that show. And the last episode when they were beating the shit out of Baby Yoda, I almost broke my TV. All right? I love Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is amazing. But don't tell me that fucking Boba Fett looked down at Baby Yoda and was like...
Boba Fett.
Yeah, because that's who he is. He's fucking... Just stop. He's fucking Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett and that's Baby Yoda, goddammit. It's not the child, Disney.
Boba Fett looked at Baby Yoda and was like, oh, I'm going to change my ways. No, what happened is Baby Yoda went, oh shit, I'm about to get capped. Look, Jedi mind fuckery. Love me.
So, what I thought was hysterical about this whole Mandalorian phenomenon here is that Disney has gone on record as saying people need to stop calling it Baby Yoda and start calling it the child. And I'm like, you don't get to make that decision.
Right.
People decide, like, you took something that was already recognizable, you babified it. You made it a fucking pop fig, okay?
Yeah.
A pop fig in film. And then you have the audacity to tell people that the already recognizable thing that you've taken because you own a fucking property, that it's not what they think it is. Bullshit. It's not what you think it is, Disney. Motherfuckers.
Hey, Disney. Again, The Mandalorian. Now, Jon Favreau had a lot to do with The Mandalorian. And that last episode was really, really good.
The show was good.
The last episode. But it's not worth... It's okay. To me, it's Serenity without,
it's the
good storytelling.
It's the best fucking Star Wars that we've got in years, though.
Okay, that doesn't mean it's good.
It does.
No. Time out. If I eat a shit sandwich and then you cover the shit sandwich with cheese, yes, that shit sandwich is the best shit sandwich I ever had.
Goddamn right it is.
But you know what? It's still a shit sandwich. And maybe it is time that we realize that Star Wars and the MCU and all these things that we love are being oversaturated.
MCU can be done.
And
MCU can be done.
Well, and even Star Wars needs to be done.
Oh, Star Wars needed to be done.
maybe it is time that we as an audience, we as consumers, we as the nerds who love these properties, because we do, we love them to death, and I want more and more and more and more and more. But maybe it's time we step back and go, you know what? I love this product. I respect this product. I need a break. I need some time away. I need to remember why I love you.
Well, and that's why I said Disney needs to take 5 years away from Star Wars. They need to do their little series and shit, the cutesy cute stuff that's actually working. Yeah.
Do they? Because they're doing a new season of Clone Wars, even though that shit was wrapped up.
No, I don't give a fuck about that. Do it. Do your fucking Clone Wars bullshit. Do your little series. Leave the fucking movies alone for 5 years. Okay. Let us forget this travesty that you've bestowed upon us. Just like we forgot we basically forgot the prequels. Okay. We hadn't seen Star Wars in 10 years. And we're like, God damn, dude, they're doing new Star Wars. We're seeing fucking all these trailers and shit. The Millennium Falcon's there. Everybody had fucking boners. They're jerking off, watching their YouTube, watching the trailers on YouTube. Everybody was fucking stoked, and we got the movie and everybody's like, wow, that was so good. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
But everybody's losing their shit over it, and then the next movie comes out and people are like, wow, this really isn't very good. And then you get this third movie and people are like, this was nobody thought about anything. So give us 5 fucking years, let us forget about your stupid shit, and then tell a story.
I think we hit the nail on the head with Disney is, hey, come up with a plan. Now, it is obvious the MCU wasn't planned to a T.
No.
Right? Because we were supposed to have Infinity War way before we did. But they adapted. And they still ended up telling a cohesive story.
Great story. Yep.
All, 22 movies?
23. Something like that. 20-something fucking movies.
20-something fucking movies. They have put, in less than 10 years, the MCU has put more movies out than James Bond.
Damn right.
But they tell a story.
They do.
And they were able to adapt to add more and change that story. But at the end, you have a cohesive story.
Yeah.
And how they did that, it wasn't some great mastermind, I'm thinking outside the box, coming up with new things. It was, hey, here's the story we want to tell. Point A to point B, we'll let the characters tell us how we get there. Yeah, I mean,
we've known about Thanos since 2012.
Yeah, the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's Thanos.
He's going to show up, everybody. And guess what? He did. He did.
So take your time, tell your stories. Here, guys, geeks out there, what do you want from your fandoms? Do you want more? Do you just want more content, or do you want better content? Where do you want? Do you want just back to 90s comic books where everything was all
fucked up?
I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about that later. But as a fan of properties, as a fan of your entertainment, knowing that now, I mean, I'm 36 years old today. Chris is
30.
And time is becoming very short. The amount of free time we have to devote to these IPs, to devote to the things we love. What do you want? What do you expect from your properties? Are the things you love? Because they're not yours. You don't own Star Wars. You don't own the MCU. You don't own DC Comics. You don't own Magic the Gathering. You don't own D&D. But what would you like to see from the hobbies you've chosen to invest your time in?
For me,
yeah,
I think it's fucking passion. I want to see the passion of an individual turned into a project, and I want to see that project come to fruition. That's what I think is exciting for me. Well, and like when somebody truly loves something and they truly pour themselves into it, that's when you see something that's beautiful or wonderful. And that's what I think is exciting.
Well, then how do you fix it? Are you willing to open your mind up to new IPs? Because
look at
Hellboy, the reboot of Hellboy with fucking Stranger Things guy.
Yep, David Harbour.
It was a good movie. It was. It wasn't Hellboy, but it was a good movie. It failed
miserably.
Sonic the Hedgehog didn't make a lot of money.
It's doing okay.
It's doing okay. It's not making a lot of money, though. It's not like #1 in the box office. And here's the thing. You do have a studio that heard what we had to say.
Yeah, everybody should be sucking their dick right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you should be taking everyone and their mother to see that movie because they listen to us. And if we don't support the studios that listen to us, how can we expect the properties that we to
Care
do
about to do
exactly.
better. Yeah.
If they're going to keep putting out the shit sandwich covered in cheese and we keep buying it, they're going to keep putting it out.
Yeah.
If a studio actually listens to us and takes changes as a fan, then we need to reward them.
Yeah, agreed.
So, guys, what do you want? What do you want from your IPs? What are you excited about coming down the line? How do you fix this clusterfuck of where we find ourselves in the nerd culture?
Yeah.
It's great that nerd culture and pop culture
It's mainstream.
is mainstream now. But how do you keep it special? How do you keep it what you would like while including everybody else? Because you're going to bring your own stuff out of it. You're going to put your own stuff in it. But what do you want to see?
You know what's funny is one of our first episodes was Get Off My Lawn featuring Peter Chu.
Yeah.
And now, because in that, we're talking about how it's bizarre. I mean, fuck, that was 4 years ago. But we were talking about how bizarre it was that the shit that we've liked for years is becoming mainstream. And here we are now, fucking 4 years later. And it is like, that is what is normal now.
And that's fine.
It's weird. It's fucking weird, dude.
Well, think about it and maybe this is a conversation. Maybe we should do a Get Off My Lawn part 2 and get Peter Chu back here for this.
I think we should.
And here we'll wrap it up with this though. Is it's great that these things are out there. It's great that it's mainstream. Thank you so much for what we've enjoyed and what is being shared. Because at the end of the day, when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot of people to talk about comic books with, or D&D, or gaming with. And now it's out there, and you can go to conventions, and you can go to stores, and you can see these things. You can see just a random person picking up something you're interested in, and you can talk to him. It's great that the hobby is expanding.
Yeah.
And it's great that it's becoming so mainstream. But what do you want? What do you expect from this? How do you here, I'll call it out. Here's the Geek Challenge of the Year. How do you contribute to the community that you love so much? I've been lacking. I don't go to game stores anymore. I don't play Magic anymore. I get the game every other week, and that's it. How are you going to How are you going to, one, continue to thrive the community, and two, get what you want out of it? Because it is a hobby. It is disposable income you're spending, and money's hard to make nowadays.
Everything's expensive.
So, guys, let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see, how you're going to do all these things.
Yeah, and the best way to do that is going to be going to entertainthegeeky.com. There, you can get to all of our social media, all that good stuff. You can actually find our episode logs for Entertain the Geeky and Nerd News, and you can comment on individual episodes. You can go on our Facebook page and put anything up on the wall that you want, anything like that. Weigh in. If you guys would prefer it, I could create a mail tab on the website, so if you want to email us your thoughts, do that. I'll fucking read it on the air. Roger will read it on the air. We don't care.
Someone will. Hell, I'll just have a random guy come in and read things off the air.
We'll fucking hire a guy in.
Yeah.
Hey, this is another $100 a month, but we need you to come in here and read this shit.
Hey, Kevin Smith, what are you doing? I got $100 a month for you to read our fucking mail. Check out Nerd News. Jason's doing good work. Check out BoardGameBros.com. Matt and Jeff are doing not .com, just Board Game Bros podcast. Matt and Jeff are doing an amazing job. They've actually one of their coolest episodes is they had the game designer for the Dark Tower on the show. Those guys are doing really good work over there. They've got a Patreon. If you want to donate, go ahead and donate to them.
Yeah, help those guys out. They're amazing.
They are great individuals. Kickstarter's coming in May. Be ready for that. May 5th is the launch. Our videos will be coming up very soon. We're getting ready to shoot that in a couple weekends here. Other than that, I got nothing. Roll some dice, read some books, play some cards, enjoy the hobby.
Nerd out. Guys, as always, stay geeky.